That's all right. MIDI, microphone, takes voice. Hang on. All right, so why aren't we getting audio? I'm getting audio on my end. That's all working. Sounds working now? Okay. Is that good? Can everybody hear me now? I didn't actually change any settings, so who knows? I've got the, I'm using RTX Voice, which is the NVIDIA noise filter thing, and sometimes it can do weird stuff. Give me, yep, okay, cool. Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. Nice to have you here. And Angry Man 540. I assume 4K is lurking somewhere in the background there. Anyways, nice to meet you guys. Thanks for joining in today. This is, I'll just show you, this is a real quick, this is a little teaser. This is a some shaders that I'm working on for doing a master pack of assets for, I'm going to put up the procedural sci-fi series up onto the Blender market soon. So I was prepping that. So as a part of that, I'm putting together a bunch of cool materials. They're going to be a part of an asset pack for that to kind of add to the value. But yeah, this was really cool. And I was pretty pumped about the way this turned out. Looks pretty sick. Anyways, I'm not here to promote that. We are making lasers. Let's let me open this up. Okay. Tutorials, space battles, 3 scenes. Oh, that's right. This one's in another project file. Final delivery, project files. There it is. Test. All right. I'll open this up. And this is going to be my reference today. I'm just going to use this as a guide for myself. I'll show you where we're going to head and what I got figured out. So basically what I was able to work out was, it's not working at the moment, but that's all right. It's not working. I tweaked the settings and stuff, so it might be something to do with that. Anyways, this is just a messy thing, but we're going to make it really nice. The basic gist is we got lasers firing. When they hit stuff, they send off a shower of sparks, and it's really cool. And there's another trick about it that I'm going to talk about, which is how to get it to turn on and off, which is something you can't normally do with particles in Blender. So it's going to be fun. Hi, Lormine. Thanks. Or Lormine. Thanks for joining in. Good to have you. And great. All right, well, let's get started. I'm going to keep this one up as a reference for myself so that I don't forget. I'm just going to review real quick. We've got the key to this. We've got the laser cannon, and then we've got our particle system, which is firing the laser thing. And then we've got this second emitter, and this is the one that has that, and it's set to go. Yep, cool. So that's the key. And then, okay, cool. All right, let's do it. I'm going to open up a new instance of Blender. You can have 2 copies of Blender open at once, by the way. Do you know that? Hot tip. Just hold down Shift when you click the icon on your desktop or whatever. It'll open up another one. All right. I'm actually going to do this let's do this in space, because I think that'll be more fun. So I think what I'll do is I'll grab the scene file from last week. There we go. And I will save this as a new project for us. 3D scenes, epic space battles, 10. Go. All right. Feel free to throw any questions and stuff in chat. I'll keep checking on you guys, and we can interact a little bit while we record. And let's see. All right, what I'll do is just turn on rendering real quick. Let that warm up. I'm going to get rid of this giant asteroid, the factory for this. Just delete that. Let our world load up. There it is. There's our sun. Cool. All right. Get rid of that. Hero ship. We don't need a hero ship. Although maybe we do. We could use the hero ship. No, I don't want to highlight that. I want to use. Let's see, where are you, mate? There you are. Let's delete all. Done with that? No. Sorry, just getting warmed up. Probably should have done this beforehand. All right. Select hierarchy. Delete. Delete. And I think Scannerbot, we can get rid of him. Select hierarchy. And delete sun, camera. Bada bing, bada boom. Sweet. Got a good camera. All right. I think I'll load in one asteroid. Actually, let's go ahead and get that camera. We'll get it down into the 0 position. And that'll work. I can rotate X 90. Now if I want to, I can use it. Where's the sun? There it is. All right. Sweet. All right. I'm going to close my window. 1 second. It's getting a massive blast of sunshine in my face. Couldn't see the screen. Okay. We got space. Making progress. Why no Alt-R? That's a great question. It's because I never think to use Alt-R. Let's do it right now. Alt-R. There we go. That's how you reset the position, the rotation, I mean. That's so easy. I never do it. I always 0, 0, 0. I gotta grow. I gotta learn. I gotta do better. So much to learn. Good point. All right, let's do this. Let's grab. I'm gonna import. I'm gonna append the SpiderBot. It's cool. If those of you who haven't seen this yet, funnel delivery, project files. Where is he? SpiderBot. Awesome. Collections. SpiderBot. Append. The SpiderBot is our bad guy. And there he is. Just let those shaders load. They're a bit slow. And we need a light. We don't have a light in the scene. Let's go ahead and go sun lamp. And more. Just so we can see. Cool. So there he is. Looking very menacing. Sweet. All right, let's get rid of that. And I will append one asteroid into our scene as well. Let's grab an asteroid. Object. Just grab one of the asteroid particles. All right, ready? Alt-L. No, does it not do it with Alt-L? How do you reset the location? Is it Alt-P? No. It's Alt-R's. Do I not have it selected? Alt-R, Alt-L, right? No. Anybody know how to do that? How do you instantly reset location instead of going 0, 0, 0? Alt-G. Okay. Let's see. Ready? Alt. Nice. Thanks for teaching me Blender. All right. Asteroid number 1, and I'll put another one in here. Groovy. Okay, let's do it. Okay, here we go. Now I'm gonna do this record. I'm gonna put my face in the videos from now on because that's what they always recommend on YouTube. Even though I'm not a big fan of the idea, but it's all right. Got to figure out where do you put your face so you're not in the way of stuff. Maybe over here. Get down a bit. All right. let's record. Right. Hello and welcome to another exciting Blender tutorial. I'm Chris Bailey and today we're going to be creating lasers. Let's get started. Okay, so today's plan is lasers. We're going to be making a laser system that is able to figure out when it hits stuff. Now, this is really exciting. I'm pretty pumped about this effect. I actually did a lot of research to try and find a similar effect. Couldn't find anything quite like this. So I think we actually have something unique and genuinely new to talk about today, which is pretty exciting. So what we're going to do is we're going to be, first off, just creating a basic laser system. And then we're going to try and make it be a bit dynamic. So it doesn't really matter what it hits. We're always going to get a shower of sparks whenever a laser collides with something. We're also going to try and set it up in a way where we can turn it on and off, which is not really part of the functionality of particles in Blender. So we're going to have to get a bit tricky to pull that off. All right. So let's do it. Let's see. We are going to start off in this scene here. I've got my spider bot in place. Now, if you haven't seen this guy yet, this is going to be the bad guy. We're going to have a bunch of these spider bots in our scene. It's a really cool little rig with some neat features, some cool little functionality, and where is it? There we go. Can fold up and turn on and off, and it's pretty sweet. Anyways, if you want to find out how to make this, I've got a series of about probably 6 tutorials on making this guy. They're all on Patreon. It's part of the exclusive part of the series that I put on for the patrons. So if you want to check that out, you can head over there and join. I think just the lowest tier lets you get access to it. So if you want the actual project files, you got to go up a tier, I think, but worth checking out if you haven't already. Anyways, let's start building out some lasers. So the basic concept with a laser system is we're going to just use a simple particle system. Now I'll start us off with just a plane. I'll have this guy in here just as a reference, but we're going to be firing at these asteroids here. These are our targets. And we're going to set this thing up to work naturally so that anything that we put within a certain collection is going to be able to shower sparks. So we can use this in our main scene really easily. And again, the purpose of this is so that we don't have to micromanage the process of animating every collision of a laser with something. We want to be able to shoot a bunch of these off into our scene so that we've got some really cool, exciting moments. But we also don't want to have to spend hours and hours and hours trying to, connect the dots. Okay, let's start off. We're going to create a normal plane. And our cursor's way off. Put that there. All right. So actually, this is a great moment to teach. Let's do that. Ready? So let's hit Shift A. We're going to create a new plane. Now my cursor's way off in space somewhere, so it's put it off at this bit. But if you just hit Alt G, it'll reset the position. You can also just type in 000, which is what I always normally do. But thanks to all of you guys out there in comments and chats, you're teaching me well. Anyways, so let's kick this and let's rotate him on the Y 90 degrees. All right. I'll move this. I'll move our spider bot just off to the side. For a minute, or actually we could probably position this thing. Do I want to put these lasers already on the guy or not? What do I want to do? I think for simplicity, I might, what do I want to do? I'll just do it with the plane for now. And I'll move the spider bot. I'll just move him out of the way for now. And we can apply this to him later. Okay, so we've got our main emitter. Now, we're going to go over here to particle. We're going to hit plus to create a new particle system. And we are going to just leave those basic settings. I need to turn off. Where is my video sequencer? I don't want this. Otherwise, it's going to be, you can't hear it, but I can. It's going to blast me the whole time. And I can start back at 0. Let's do that for now. Boom. All right, so we hit play, and you can see we've got these particles just, vomiting out of our plane. Definitely not lasers yet. All right, so let's switch this down. I'm going to go for, first off, I'm just going to get rid of gravity. So I'll just come right down here to the bottom. All the way to the bottom, we've got gravity here under the field weights. I'm going to drag this down to 0. Okay, so now you can see we don't have any gravity in our emission. Now I'm going to come back up here and let's take the number of particles right down to something small, like 50 for now. And I will keep the rest of this the same for the time being. Lifetime, I'll go ahead and make lifetime 600. I'll do it the length of our frame here, and I'll have the start and end frame. I'll do the end frame the same as my end frame here. Now, one of the things with particles is you have to remember that you have to manually set the end frame and the lifetime of your particles. And again, what these mean are, this is frame start. When is the particle system going to start emitting? So I could, move this up to like frame 91, and you can see it's not going to start emitting till frame 91. But you can't keyframe these values, all right? So once you've set it, you just have to leave it, right? You can't change it. It's the same with the lifetime, like you can't animate that property. So in essence, once you decide what you're going to want, when you want this particle system to start and stop, you're locked into that. So that's something we're going to try and get around because we don't want to have to worry about that. Okay, anyways, so we've got our thing set up. Now we're going to increase the speed here. Now under velocity, this is where we're getting the speed. So you can see that the word normal here, of course, the normal is referring to the direction of this polygon face that we're emitting from. And so it's saying emit in this direction with 1 meter a second in the direction of the normal, okay? So I could turn this up to get faster and faster particles. So we can go all the way up to like 50, right? We're gonna get a really fast rate of fire. Probably have to go higher than this, but for now that'll work, okay? Let's go ahead and make a laser. Don't you wish you could say that more in everyday life? Hey, let's go ahead and just make a laser. So cool. All right, let's do it. I'm gonna create a cylinder. And again, I'm gonna hit, before I make the cylinder, I'm gonna hit Shift S, and I'm gonna go cursor to world origin. That'll put my cursor down here. So now that when I create stuff, they won't just, be created way off in the middle of nowhere. I'm gonna rotate this on the, actually before I rotate it, I'm gonna open up the little drop down menu here so I can change the number of vertices in this. So I'm just gonna go to like, I don't know, maybe just 5. That's probably all we need. 4, 5 looks good. Yeah. All right, I'm going to rotate this on the Y 90 degrees, and I'm going to scale it on the X, scale it down, scale it on the X, scale it down, grab it on the X, something like that. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to go into edit mode, double tap A to select all, and I'm going to grab that on the X and just drag it forward so the origin's kind of right back here at the base. And there you go, pretty standard stuff. If you've watched any tutorials on making lasers, this is how you do it. All right, now we don't need a full, I'm gonna create a new material. So come down to the material tab, click the new material. I don't need a full principled BSDF shader for this. We don't need all the math that goes into that. So we can just switch this to an emission shader. So I'll just switch that to emission. Now it's this white glowy color. And because this is a bad guy, I'm gonna make my bad guys have red lasers. I'm gonna go against the Star Wars code of laser colorage. Is that right? No, they're green, aren't they? No, the green are the bad guys. Yeah, that's right. See, I know my lore. Psh. Psh. I'm a nerd. All right. This is gonna be our laser. Let's go ahead and name it so we don't get lost. Laser. And what we're gonna do is take the plane, which we should probably change this to ray gun because that's the only thing that makes sense. Ray gun, giant flat ray gun. Come down to our particle settings. And okay, now we need to make our laser be the particle. So let's scroll down to, where is it? Render. There it is, the render tab. And instead of rendering as a halo, we want to render as an object. And instead of an object, we need to render, well, the instance object one is the laser. Now, there we go. Cool. All right, now awesome tip that I got, part of my research. Actually, let me find this guy real quick. I just went onto YouTube and saw that I'm live. Let's see if I go to my history. Let's see, where is it? It's this great little tutorial I found. There it is. Samuel Paul, there he is, 48 subscribers. This guy's got some great stuff. All right. Cool. All right, so a little shout out to Samuel Hall, his awesome YouTube channel. He's got this really great um, Star Wars scene that he's done, and he's got a laser tutorial. One of the things that he does that I really liked was he puts a light in a collection along with this laser and allows them to work together. And that gives you just a lot more lighting in your scene. So go check his channel out. He's got some cool stuff there. I hope he keeps going with that series. He's just started it, and it looks really, really great. The result that he has is fantastic. So worth your eyes there. So let's go ahead and do what he did, and let's create a collection, and we'll call this collection laser. Grab the laser, stick it in, and we are going to create a light. So let's Shift A, light, point light, and position this point light just on our laser. Oops, just drag it forward on the X. There we go. We're going to make this point light red. Turn the green all the way down, and I'm going to crank the power right up. It's like 500. And I don't want to cast shadows. Actually, yeah, we do want to cast shadows. Why not? Anyway, so you can see it just gives it a lot more, you know, zhuzh, right? A lot more oomph, pizzazz, red. And now what we can do is come over to the ray gun and down to render. A lot of scrolling in particles. And we're going to switch the render from render as from object to collection. And now we're going to go to the laser collection. And now, whenever we fire these things, it's going to be shooting out, well, it's going to be shooting out this stuff, but oh, they're so tiny. They're so tiny we can't even see them. So let's keep going. All right, so let's go to back down to render, and let's do, okay, so we want to do whole collection, right? Oh, Blender. See that? Just crashed. Never fear. All right, so you want to see how to, any of your Blender files crash like that? Do you know how to get your file back? Hot tip. Hang on, I'll show you. At least this is how I do it. All right, you have to act quickly though. All right, because you only have so much time before it saves over it. All right, so we go up to Edit, Preferences. All right, and then we go to System. No, File Paths. There it is. Temporary Files. Copy that one. Quickly close Blender so it doesn't save another temporary file. I think I've got autosave turned on. I'm so used to using Blender from back in the days when they didn't have autosave. All right, so now we've got these here, and yeah, there's the autosave file. So that should be, but I had 2 copies of Blender open at once, so I don't know. Let's see. Bingo. Back. All right. Oops. There we go. Anyways, that's a helpful tip if you ever run into that. Okay, let's see, where were we at? We are going to use these, come back down. All right, so we've got the instance. All right, so we just need to change the yep, so to collection, go back to beginning. I want the, okay, I need to recreate that collection. That's all we lost. All right, so let's put that in there, and then let's create a light. Bring it forward, make it red. And let's change the power up to 500. Boom. And then we can put that in. That's already in there. Perfect. All right. I'll call this. Well, it's all right. I'll do that. Yep. Say hi to chat again, real quick. Hello. Where am I? Oh, there you are. Sorry. Who's joined us? Harish, thanks for coming. Good to have you. Yeah, thanks for the Shift C for putting cursor. Yeah. Ganapathy. I finally figured that one out a little while ago. I never did it, and then people started saying it in the comments all the time, and then finally I was like, yeah, I should probably do that. Okay, let's get this going. Let's get our plane, and we still make sure I'm still recording. Yep, good. All right, back to our particle system, and where are we? We've got our collection, instance collection. All right, so collection 4. Call this laser, and I'm going to go ahead and save this. So I'm just working on that. There we go. Okay, laser, and I want the whole collection. There you go. Didn't crash. Cool. Turn that back on. Great. Okay, now once we set laser as the instance collection, what we want to do next is tick on this whole collection box, and that allows us to use everything that's in this collection every time it launches a particle. So if you don't have that ticked, it's going to take from the different things that are in that collection. So this is a great way to get it to use all of it at once. So that's what we want. We always want to have the laser beam with a light attached to it. So that's working now. Now we just need to get things oriented correctly, because at the moment it's still emitting with the laser being way too small. So we could scale this up, and that's probably a perfectly acceptable way of doing it. Just do 1, that'll be the same height or the same scale as the number ones. There we go. So we've got some lasers firing off. They're going way too slow. Whoa, Blender crashed again. What am I doing today? Maybe it's the fact that I'm recording and streaming at the same time, possibly, and it's overheating the GPU, possibly. Let's get this return back to, so we're going to go render collection, instance collection, laser, whole collection. And scale, put that back up to 1. All right, so I don't have any slowdown. I'm just going to work in shaded mode for now. We can check out rendered view in a minute once we get this thing set up a little bit further. So, okay, now let's increase the speed of this. So I'm going to go to right up here, normal. I'm going to turn this up to 100. We'll see how that looks. Can probably go even faster than that. We don't want to go like realistic fast, you know what I mean? We don't want the speed of light, because that'd be lame, because you could see it. So it's kind of a fine balance between like just so that it shows up, you know. I think this is a pretty good speed. I might even want to make this a little bit bigger. There we go. That looks pretty good. All right, cool. Let's see. All right. I was just checking on the stream. It was saying we got 0 bit rate. So let me know if things start going crazy on your end, guys. If you can't see, or if it starts to bog down, let me know. I'll try and fix it. All right. Okay, so the next step that we want to do is figure out how to get these lasers to react when they collide with something. Now, the only way to do that in Blender is to use something called instance particles. What that allows us to do is create a new particle system, which is going to be the explosion particle system for when we hit stuff. And then we can tell it to basically trigger wherever there is another particle system doing something. So we can have them trigger, we can have it trigger whenever another particle dies, for example. Okay, so I'll show you how to do that. All right, so we've got our laser. Actually, I'll go ahead and move one of our asteroids so that we're actually colliding with it. I'll turn off transparent mode. And actually, I might even just switch over to shaded view. Go ahead and save. Let's see if this this works. Yeah. Let my shaders compile. That might have been what I did last time. Cool. All right. So you can see every time we come to this asteroid, they're just passing through. It's like, man, no big deal. So what we want to do is create this other thing. So let's do that. Let's create we're going to create a UV sphere. And we don't want it to be in the collection here. So I'm going to just drag it out. I'll put it just in my scene collection for now. And we'll call this one, let's see, explosion emitter. All right, now the explosion emitter is going to be the thing that emits our explosion for whenever these things strike. So let's see what's going to be the best way for me to teach this. Let me first. I'll just put. Let me think. What would be the best way to do this? Because it's pretty counterintuitive, this whole process. We'll start off by let's make the particle system that's going to live on this thing next. Just so you can begin to understand how this all fits together. Because we've already done this. You know how to do this. So we'll hit the plus sign to create a new particle system. And this one, this particle system is going to be our explosion, our spark explosion. Okay. So go ahead and hit play. You can see we get this burst of particles. What I want it to do is I'm going to do the same as the other one. I'm going to have it start at frame 1 and I'm going to have it go till the end frame 600. Okay. Now, again, that's the frame that I've set manually. So I've set it again here. Lifetime, I'll go ahead and set to 600 as well. For now, we're going to change that, but that's just so we can see things a little bit easier. So here we go. This is our particle system and it's just raining down. So what we want to do is create more of a burst, like a spark burst. Okay. So let's crank up the velocity. Okay. So now they're going all over the place, right? Then we can also probably turn down our gravity some because we don't want any gravity technically, so we should probably turn it off for now. There we go. All right, now let's create something that this thing can emit. So something that looks like a spark. Now we could do a couple of different things. One thing I like to do with particle systems like this is to create them in a shape that kind of cheats motion blur, more or less. So if we create let's see, what do I want? Let's create a UV sphere, but bring the segments down to like maybe 10 and 10. Now it's put it again in our collection here. So I'll just drag it out so it doesn't continue to make it there. And I'm going to go into edit mode and I'll select, let's see, I'll select this bottom vertex. So I'll select this guy here and I'm going to turn on proportional editing, and I've got mine switched to linear. I'm going to move back to smooth. Yours is probably on smooth already. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab it on the Z and I'll just roll my mouse wheel. There we go. Until I get that circle. And I'll just keep playing with this, getting kind of like a teardrop look. Something like this, I think. And I'm going to scale. And I want to scale, let's see, I'm going to shift Z so that we're only scaling on the X and Y. If you hold down shift and hit X, Y, or Z when you're grabbing or rotating or scaling, it's going to basically turn off whatever axis it was that you hit. So shift X, shift Y, shift Z is going to turn off whatever axis you select. So that's a great little trick for, just if you want to just scale on a certain axis. So there we go. It's kind of a teardrop shape. I think that works for us. I'll scale this thing down a bit. See, we might have to refine it a little bit. I'm going to call this thing Spark. Okay. And this is going to be the thing that is shooting out of our spark emitter. So let's go down to render, and I'm going to select object, and I will select Spark. Where are you? Spark. There you go. All right. Now for scale, I'll crank it up a little bit so we can see it. There we go. Now we want these things to actually emit in the direction that each of the normals are facing for this sphere. So right now they're all just kind of emitting standing straight up, which isn't the look we want. So we need to go into rotation. So let's find rotation. There it is. I'll just turn it on. And I'm going to switch it to normal tangent. I think that'll give it to us. Nope. Let's try just normal. Nope. Could also be the way, I think what I'll do as well is I'll turn down the velocity. That's a great way to kind of figure things out sometimes. is if you turn down, let's see, velocity here actually should do it. So maybe we just need to reorient the particle itself. So let's select it all in edit mode. So select the particle, hit tab to go into edit mode. We're going to rotate on the X 90. And yes, you can see now they're pointing, it looks like they're kind of emitting outwards, right? So that was the trick. It's just the geometry is oriented in the wrong way. But we want it to go the other way. So let's rotate X negative 90. That's pretty good. And then what we can do is we need I want the origin to be centered in the geometry. So I can go object, set origin, origin to geometry. All right, and there we go. Now you can see we've got these things shooting out. And because we've, sculpted it like a teardrop, we're faking motion blur, kind of. Just saves you on processing power. Why not? Okay, so let's go back up to really fast. So our velocity, that one, back up to 50. And I'm going to turn the lifetime down to like 10. Maybe even less than that. So this is like this little, burst. And then I'll turn this right up. And I might bring the velocity down. And turn the lifetime up a little bit. I'm just kind of tweaking these a little bit just to kind of get something that looks right. And then what we might want to do is, I know it doesn't make sense in space, but if we add in a little bit of gravity, I may not want to do this. Dynamic. Yep. So we turn on dynamic. That's going to allow them to kind of follow the arc of motion. So we've got gravity turned on, so they've got this arc, which of course makes no sense for space, but it's all right. We're just trying to make stuff look cool. Now I'm going to bring the velocity down a bit and the lifetime because we don't need them to be around this long. That just gives us this little kind of arc to that motion, which is potentially pretty nice. Now, what we can do as well, we're going to bring the size of these guys down a bit. So let's go down to the particle scale and we'll bring that size. We'll play with this a little bit more once we get into a rendered view, but I think that's going to work pretty good. Okay, so let's go ahead and take our spark. We're going to add in a new material and we're going to switch it to emission. Remember when I do this way, when I switch the emission like that, it's the same as if you were to be in the shader editor, right? And so this is the shader for this that we just created. If I go back to principled BSDF, where is it? You can see it just adds a principled BSDF node. So changing it there is the exact same thing as coming over here and deleting and just going add shader node, emission, piping it in, boom, you'll see it does it there. So those are related. So that's what's going on there. Pretty easy. So yeah. Hola, Valentina. Thanks for coming. It's good to have you. Everybody else here, welcome. Good to see you. Thanks for popping in the stream today. We're just doing a record for making lasers. It's going to be the next tutorial. Very exciting stuff. Hope you're enjoying it. Any questions you've got, throw them in chat. I'll do my best to answer. If English is not your preferred language, throw it in your language of choice and I'll Google Translate, do my best to give you an answer. All right, here we go. We got lasers. All right, I'm going to make this emission kind of like a yellow spark, and I'll turn it up. That's kind of the Star Wars way of doing it, right? So it's this sort of whitish, hot yellow spark. So we're going to have that be our spark system. Okay, now we'll refine this particle system a little bit better once we get it working. But let's think about what we have right now. Okay, we've got two particle systems. We've got the ray gun particle system up here, and then we've got the explosion emitter right here, right? So we've got two particle systems, right? They both are starting at the beginning of our scene. They go on for 600 frames and they're emitting a bunch of particles throughout the whole scene, right? But we want to get these two particle systems to work together. We want them to partner up so that when one dies, the other one initiates. Now, that's a little deceptive, what I just said. The particle system isn't going to initiate. It's not going to start firing whenever we have a particle die, right? It's going to behave according to the same parameters that we've already put into it. So both particle systems are always going to start at frame 1 because that's what we've set. And they're always going to go till frame 600 because, again, that's what we've set. Doing what we're about to do doesn't change that. It just basically changes the position of the emitter. That's kind of the best way to think of it. It activates the emitter. Okay, so in order to get this to begin to appear wherever a laser hits something, we need to do two things. The first thing we need to do is we need to take the object that we want to be reacting to the laser. We want to take that and we need to turn it into a collision object, okay? So we go over here to the physics tab. When we have the asteroid clicked, we can just click on collision, all right? And that's going to automatically turn this thing into a collider. And you can see now we've got lasers bouncing off as they hit. But we don't want them to bounce off, we want them to just disappear. So we're going to tick this box here, kill particles. Now, whenever it intersects this object, they're just going to disappear. They're going to die. If I can move it out of the way, they'll keep going, but here they'll stop. All right, now, the next step for us is to now connect that event, that kill event, up with this system. And there's a really great tool for that. It's in the modifiers. So we go to the explosion emitter, and we head over here to the modifier tab. I'm going to go ahead and hit pause just in case Blender crashes. And I'm going to add in a particle instance modifier. So we'll throw that in there. Now, I don't know, let's see, which one needs to be first or second, or if it matters. We may have to play with that. But now with the particle instance modifier, what we're going to do is we need to pick another object in our scene that has another particle system in it. So in our case, we want to pick our ray gun, right? Because we want this to be reacting to the laser particle. So there it is. Now, particle settings, this is the name of the particle system that we have on ray guns. So if we come over here and name this laser particles. And then we come back over to our explosion emitter. You can see here, particle settings, sorry. So it's not, the name doesn't change from that. It changes from up here, from there. I don't know why those aren't linked. Okay, so if we were to change this to laser particles, and now we come over to our explosion emitter, you can see that, no, still pick the wrong one. One more time. I'll just undo that. All right. Come back to the explosion emitter. All right. Back to this thing. So we've got ray gun selected as the object, and the particle settings, this is referring to the particle system that's on ray gun. So if I come up here and rename this to laser particles, right here you can see that now in this guy, if I go back to it, laser particles is now the name that's appearing there. So that's what it's linking. Now we want to tell it what to do with this particle system, how it should behave. So we want to, right here, we want to create from regular. So we want to create from the regular particles that are being fired out of this thing, not any children particles or anything like that. And we want to show the particle when this one dies. So not when it's alive, not when it's unborn, but when it's dead. So now if I hit play, nothing's happening, but that's all right because we're getting there. All right. So actually, why is nothing happening? Is it the order? Stack order? No. Okay, I see what's going on. Let me just see. Did that actually make a difference though? Does stack order? No, it doesn't. Okay. All right. So we hit play, right? And it's not doing it yet. But what is going on? If you notice, there's something happening right here. These guys are starting to appear. So what we need to do is I moved it off to demonstrate, okay, we've got two particle systems. We need to put this back at 0, 0, 0. Actually, what is going on? I'm not entirely sure. I'll try that again. Okay, so it does matter the order. I forget why the position isn't working. There's something, I figured this out the other day. All right, so let's see. We've got the collision system. We're killing the particles. That works. We got this guy firing. That works. We've got the explosion emitter. And oh, I know. It's got something to do with this. Is it the scale? Yeah, it's the scale of my emitter. So I need to apply the scale. All right. That was it. Cool. All right, let me just reverse. Where is my this thing back up here? And this was below it. All right, cool. All right, so the next thing we got to figure out is we need to have this sphere that's emitting our explosion. We need to, in order to get this to work, so you can see it's appearing, right? We're getting little versions, little instances of the sphere emitter. It's instancing here, but you're not getting it where we want it to go. The reason for that is the fact that we've changed the scale of the sphere. So when I first made it, I scaled it right down, right? But I didn't apply that scale. So it's actually positioning it in the right spot on this asteroid, but then it's applying this scale to it with the origin being, I think at the center or wherever it is in it. So it's scaling down, you can see it. So it's moved it off of where we want it to be. So in order to get it to work, what we have to do is apply the scale of this. So this is 1 again. So if you just select your explosion emitter and hit F3 and apply object transform. And I don't want to apply the location because I've moved it off. Rotation you don't need either, really. But scale is the one we do want. So I'll just tick on scale. There we go. So now you can see scale is set to 1, 1, and 1. Okay. Now if I hit, you can see that we're getting it appearing on the asteroid. Okay, still not quite working just right, but it's getting a lot closer. All right, so the next problem is, of course, the fact that our position's off. So I didn't, reset that. So I'm going to put this back at 0. Now, if I hit play, you can see we're getting these little balls wherever a laser dies. So when the laser particle hits the asteroid, it dies, automatically we get one of these objects, which is cool. But it's not emitting any particles. What's going on? Well, the reason is the particle instance is happening after the particle settings in our modifier stack. So if we change the order of these like that, suddenly it's going to be emitting a sphere that is emitting sparks whenever it hits. Now this is really getting cool, right? It's looking really nice. It's not quite there yet though. Why? Because whenever the laser stops emitting, so if I was to take this, right? Let's jump to our first frame. We're shooting, and then I move it off. I'm trying to get an example here. Well, it's not really a problem, actually, the way we've done it. I guess it doesn't really matter. I was trying to say that when you move it off, it's going to continue to emit. Well, we might change it so you could see that, because I think this is worthwhile. Let's do it. All right, so things are kind of working. It's coming together. Let me show you a problem, though. If I turn the lifetime up to, like, I don't know, 50, right? And then we take this guy and we move him off, right? So he emits, and then he stops emitting. Actually, no, it's fine. Why is it fine? This wasn't working the other day. Maybe I was just doing it wrong the other day. Let's just double check though, because I think this is. Where is the explosion emitter? Lifetime 50 frames. It should be enough. It is enough. What about the instancer? Regular children dead amount. Create along paths. Is that? No, I think that matters. Huh. I guess it doesn't matter. All right. Let's turn that back down to like 10 or whatever it was. Okay, so now things are really coming together. What we need to do next is we need to go ahead and turn off the emitter because we don't want to see this thing appearing every time. So what we can do is we can come to the render settings. Right here where it says show emitter, we can just turn that off for the, make sure I did it on the right, yeah, for the explosion emitter. We can also go into the instancing settings here underneath the object settings, which is the orange box. Come down to instancing. We can say, we can turn off display instancer, and that's going to just turn it off from everything, from viewports, from all that. So now we never see that sphere anymore, and we're just going to see the sparks flying. Now, one of the limitations of this is that you can see that the sparks continue to emit until the next impact. So when the next laser hits, that's when the next spark starts to fly. So if I took my ray gun and I took my emissions down to, like, let's say instead of 50, let's just go 1. You can see what happens. It's like a laser hits and boom, it's just gonna like emit sparks and just continue to emit sparks until the next one decides to hit. So that kind of limits our realism, right? It's not great. So that's one thing to bear in mind. This works really well when you have a lot of lasers firing. Don't let it crash. There we go. So this works really well when you have a lot of lasers firing because you're never going to notice that the sparks are continuing to emit. But there is one other problem that we've got with this system, and that is we can't turn it off. So lasers are firing or they're not firing. That's it, right? So we can't animate. Okay, at frame 300, I want to have it stop, and then at frame 400, I want it to start again. It's sort of, you have to commit to the moment in your shot you want to have lasers. So we've got lasers, and then it's like we don't have lasers, and that's it. You can't really go in between the two. So that's a bit of an issue. Now, there is a way around it, and it's a little bit of a, it's a hack. I'll call it a hack. It's not great, but it works, and that's all that really matters, right? Who cares if it's a hack? So let's do a hack. What we're going to do is we're going to create something that exists kind of on the boundary of our scene. Okay, we're going to create a sphere. So let's create a UV sphere. And it doesn't matter how many subdivision it has. I mean, you don't need a lot. So I'm going to scale it up, grab it back on the X a little bit. And we're also going to set up a collision group for our asteroids that we want to have colliding. So if I take my asteroid here, asteroid particle, and I'll go ahead and create a new collection for this guy. And I will call this collection, let's see, laser colliders. Now, whatever we put in this, we're going to have react to the laser and give us this effect. This gives us a little more control later. So I'm going to take my asteroid particle and I'm going to pop it in there. I'll take this one, I'll put it in as well. Now, every object within here, we still need to remember to go through and turn on collision and kill particle. That's important. All right, so now what we can do is come over to our laser, where is it? Our ray gun emitter. And when we come down to, here we go, deflection, we've got collision collection. We can select the laser colliders collection. So now only these are going to work for that. Now we can also technically, we can hit die on hit, and I think that allows us to then not have to necessarily kill particles. And that should give us the same, oops, the giant sphere is in our collection there. We don't want that. So yeah, that still works. You see it. So that's kind of, I don't know, a bit of a time saver. So only you just drag things in and click on collision and it should work. In fact, I wonder, does it need to? Yeah. So it has to have collision. Cool. Okay, so we now have this laser collider group. We're going to take this sphere, we're actually going to put it inside this laser collider group. Now, this sphere we're going to give a specific material to. We're going to create an emission material, and we're going to make it pure black. So this thing is emitting no light into the scene whatsoever. And then what we're going to do is we are going to take our laser particle system, the ray gun, the one that's firing our lasers, and we're going to put a constraint onto it. Okay, and this is going to be a copy transform constraint. Then we're going to do is we're going to select, actually we'll go ahead and name this sphere. So this black sphere of death that we have here, call it the black sphere of death. That's a bit of a long name though. We'll call this our laser controller. Why not? It's not as exciting as black sphere of death, let's be honest. Oh well, laser controller. What we can do is go to our ray gun now, and we can select the laser controller. Let's find it there. And we want to, just leave these settings as is. Now, basically what it's doing is it's going to be copying the transformation information that's on this and putting it onto laser control. Now, with the laser controller, we're going to turn on collision. Okay, so this is now going to be killing the particles. So in essence, what we've done is we've put our emitter, where is it? Our our ray gun. See all kinds of crazy stuff going on. It's now basically inside. Now it's also copied the scale. That's right. That's something I don't want. And the rotation. I don't want that either. Let's do a different constraint. That's probably the problem. Let me go laser ray gun, and let me try. What's another one? Just want to do. Could I limit the location? Copy, probably just copy locations, all we want. Laser controller. Oh. Yeah, that's all we need. All right, cool. Let's do that again. All right. All right, so the next thing we want to do with our object, we've just named it laser controller, right? So this black sphere is going to contain our lasers when we're not using them. So now I can come over to my ray gun, and I can add a constraint. I just want to use a copy location constraint, and I'm going to find my laser. There it is, laser controller object. And now basically what it's done is it's copied the position of this controller right over here, and it's put my where is it? Let's put my ray gun wherever it is, right? So now this is also, we make sure this is set as a collider as well. So our laser controller is a collider with kill particles turned on. So basically what happens is, you can see we've got some sparks and stuff flying. What's happening is the laser ray gun is inside of our sphere, and it's firing and hitting the inside wall, right? And which is triggering the explosions and all that stuff, but it's happening off screen because we're going to put this thing outside of our scene. We're going to put it way off in the distance. What we can also do is we can take this laser controller and we can Shift-D, scale it up. So we've got a second one now that contains it all. So we're not going to see anything. Now this one, we don't need any collision on. We can just turn that off. This is just visually there just to make sure we don't catch a glimpse of it somewhere, the sparks or whatever. So now this thing is just, out and about. So we could take this and we could take both of these guys. Actually, I'll go ahead and I'll just control click, take the outside one and control click the inside one, and then control P, and I'm going to parent that to the object. And now this guy, we could just take this thing and stick it way off in the middle of nowhere. So 10,000, whatever, it's gone. There it is. We have no lasers in our scene. Now if I come back to my center zone here and I grab my ray gun, now what I can do is I can go to this constraint tab and I can animate the influence. Because when the influence is 0, this thing is going to be wherever it is I've positioned it in the scene, right? When it's 1, it's going to be wherever we want it to be when it's over there. So if we just jump between 0 and 1, we're basically turning the lasers on and off throughout the scene. So a bit of a hack, but it's a good hack. It works. So now I can show you how this thing's working. Let's take this ray gun guy, scale him down a bit, and I'm going to set a position keyframe right here. And I'm going to move forward a little bit, and I'm going to grab him and grab him down Y, and rotate on the Z like that. And just grab them over here. And I'll set another keyframe like that. Okay, so now if I jump back, you can see, oh, that's right, I need to keyframe the rotation. So I'll jump to that keyframe that we just made, set a keyframe for the rotation, and come back over here, and I will zero out that and hit I again. So now, oh, did I write over my keyframes? Yes, I did. All right, grab him. Oh no, there he is. Oh, I see what's going on. Actually, that's from a previous project. I had it set to constant. It needs to be set to Bezier. Okay, so this guy is slowly moving in our scene, right? Get rid of that. You can see as he's flying around, he's firing. But now another problem we've got is the rotation is off for these guys. So these lasers aren't rotating correctly with the plane. So we need to make a change. So let's go to our particle settings. And what we're going to do is come right over here to what is it? We just need to turn on rotation. And now they're going to behave properly. So now you can see we're striking this. And we don't need a lifetime. You can see they're still alive. They're way out there. We don't need a lifetime that's that big. So I can just bring this down to like 10 maybe. So now as it's traveling through our scene, as it's striking, you can see it's working. Now, because I've got it set to 10, they're dying right off there. We don't want that. We want this to be, so we probably do want it actually really, really big. I will keep it linked to the scene. There we go. Now it's striking the next one. So now the next thing we can do is we can animate this on and off system, right? So we have lasers firing, and then we could take our constraint on the ray gun, and I can animate the influence. So I can make a keyframe there, and then I can go to the next frame and set this to 0. Set another keyframe. Did I do that wrong? Oh, do I have automatic keyframes on or something? What is going on, man? That should be 1 I. So it's 0 and then it's 1. There we go. And then I can bring it back on. Set another keyframe, go forward 1 frame, and make that 0 and hit I. So now you can see that it's shooting and then it turns off and it stops shooting. Now the reason why the sparks go, of course, is because it's firing inside that black sphere of death that we have in the back. And when it hits that, it stops creating the sparks on here. So if you ever have a situation where you've got some sparks that are continuously firing. So for example, if I was to, if we were to take these keyframes here, drag them forward, right? You can see that when it stops hitting here, all right, how that's just going to keep firing. I don't know what we hit there. As soon as we pass the plane of this asteroid, this is continuing to fire. So one way around that, if you do notice that in your render when you're animating, if you get a couple of these moments, we've got one that's just like continuing to spark and stuff, but you still want to have lasers firing off in the distance. What you can do is you can actually find that moment where you want it to turn off, and you can go ahead and just create a keyframe there and just go to the next and turn it off for like a moment, come forward, hit another keyframe, turn it back on, and hit I. And that should be enough to turn it off. So just need to have it long enough to actually fire once inside. There we go. That's doing weird stuff because we haven't baked it. We need to be able to bake the particle simulation to kind of get rid of all the artifacts. Anyways, lasers. All right, let's just check real quick how we're going with the stream and everything. Almost been going for an hour. Time is at 1:30. I need to wrap things up. So interview. Kill the stream a little bit. Probably kill the stream too much. If I make a smaller viewport, that might. Sorry about that. The stream dropped out. All right, I think that's pretty good for now. All right, I'm going to stop recording. Perfect. All right. So I hope you guys found that fun. We'll see. The edit it'll come together a bit better, I think. Yeah, it's a pretty cool technique. It's a bit of a hack though. Like I'm not super happy with the fact that there's not a better workaround. I'm hoping in the future iterations of Blender will have more flexibility with particles, but right now we don't. But that's all right. Can't complain. It's Blender. Everything's a gift. Cool. Well, let me know if anybody has any questions. I can do my best to answer those. I hope you're all enjoying the series so far. I'll make my face a bit bigger. Or actually, I'll just jump back to this screen. So yeah, hope you're all really enjoying the series. Thanks to everybody who's participated in the polls that I've been putting up. It's been great getting your feedback and finding out what you think about everything. That's been really, really helpful for me so far. So yeah, thanks for that. And thanks again for liking and subscribing and all that stuff in your comments. All that's been really great, really helpful. Thank you to those of you who've jumped onto the Patreon. That's been amazing. And those of you who've bought stuff on the Blender market, really, really appreciate it. It's going a long way to helping me continue to make these things and put these tutorials together. So hope you're excited about where this is going to go. I think we got a lot of potential, and I'm really pumped about what's next. I've got some really I've got the whole music track, and I've kind of mapped out every moment that we've got ahead of us. And it's going to get really cool. There's some really nice action coming up. And I think this whole thing of like building in emotional connection to the little droids that we've got with the audience, I think it's going to really pay off. I think it's going to make it a lot more fun to watch. And in the end, we should have a really cool little, basically a little short movie that, you can make and show your friends, I guess. Hopefully you're learning a lot. Awesome. ACG artists, thanks for coming in. Thanks for the live stream. Appreciate you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining in. We've had 11 people joining in today, more or less, throughout, which is really awesome. That's a really great number. Yeah, so stay tuned. Next week, I'll have this episode cut and ready to go. I'll probably add in a little bit more stuff to it, and then pop that out. But anyways, hope you have a great week. Stay safe, great weekend, and I'll catch you next week. I'm going to try to keep these up every Friday, so if you're around, feel free to pop over and say hi and join in the fun. So thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time. See ya.